Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Let's get you in the right frame of reference. There's only 2 Star Wars movies right now. There's a Pac-Man TV show or cartoon, and Atari is number 1. Let's go to December 1982. We were last checking out the enhanced version of Beneath Apple Manor on the Apple II. Let's see where our next video game takes us. We're next going to the arcade to play... Wait, Mr. Do? We already played Mr. Do. Oh, wait, this isn't Mr. D.O. This is Mr. D.U. And there you go. It's not a fabrication. It really did exist. This is not photoshopped or changed. There it is, the very brief control panel explaining what the game is, but instead of D.O., it's Mr. Do. What in the world? Well, there's the control panel, there's the control panel, there's the arcade PCB. Controls look basically the same. Mr. Do? Does it exist? Well, let's go to the arcades and find out. This is originally by Universal. This is a never-published bootleg. It's December 20th, 1982. This marks the 649th game that we've seen in the arcades thus far. There it is, Mr. Do. Is it a mistranslation? No, it is not. And it is not the real Mr. Do that we saw by Universal. Originally, it was September 1982 when we saw it in the arcades. This one is bootleg territory. Can't believe we're showing this. Well, let's put a coin in. Actually, I think they're showing the same, how to play the game. If you're not familiar with Dig Dug, the attract mode's kind of going through. All right, let's put a coin in. We played Dig Dug, we played Mr. Do, and here it is, the real Mr. Do. Game starts off. Objective is not to kill all the enemies like you did in Dig Dug, it's to pick up all the cherries. First level you can get by pretty much without trying to destroy too many enemies. There you go, one tried to follow me. Oh, enemy patterns are different though. I missed that strawberry there. Let's see if we can knock a couple guys out here. Very nice. Someone's trying to follow me on that side, but we'll go this way. Okay, yep, they changed up the enemy patterns a little bit. In fact, the enemies look exactly the same, though, at least from what I can tell. Once you get all the cherries, then you move to the next level. I think someone just ripped off the same PCB, and it's essentially just Mr. D.O. They just renamed it. Wouldn't be the first time, but I'm already enjoying this because Mr. Do is fantastic. Look at that. Oh, I get the crushing apples. Destroy all the enemies. I've been playing a lot of Dig Dug lately, so it's a little surreal playing Mr. Do back-to-back from Dig Dug. One of the things I do while I'm getting ready to do the show is I try to play nothing but games from this era to be in the right frame of reference, especially when we're going to be rating these games based on everything else you could be playing at the time. Yes, follow me, I dare you. Yeah, they're still following the same tropes to get crushed by the apple, but it's just so little. And they even have the same extra bonus, and the fruit or cake. Is Frygar here? Let's see if he... Yep, there he is. Frygar-ish character. Same cutscene that we saw before. It looks really similar. And then someone's bringing up in the chat Mr. Low. Yes, Mr. Do is what this one is, because they copied. It's not even real. I wonder if the enemies are a little bit smarter. They seem to be still following for my traps. Other enemies coming there. Yep, faster. Yep. Okay, so it's slightly tweaked. It's a little bit different than we saw from before. This one is an unlicensed video game. This one is one of the first times we've seen a never published or bootleg video game. It's not the first, but it's one of the first. There's been lots of other unlicensed video games that we've seen since the beginning of this show. This one is a little bit special. Oh, look! It does the same. It's pretty much the same. So I wanted to bring up this game and show this game because Mr. Do has something a little different. Of all the games you can be playing right now, Mr. Do is... There it is. Mr. Do is not the very first. One of the very first unlicensed video games we saw was Star Trek, which was a clone of Computer Space in 1972. That was the first unlicensed, unofficial video game. There were some other unlicensed games we saw on home consoles on the RCA Studio 2 that were basically bootlegs from Australia. Concentration Match, Grand Pack, Pinball, and Star Trek. And then the arcades is where we have seen most of the bootlegs. starting with Space Stranger, one of the very first unlicensed video games that we saw on Chronologically Gaming, obviously ripping off Space Invaders. Some other ones we've seen have been Cosmic Monsters 1 and Cosmic Monsters 2. These were done by Universal, same company that did Mr. Do, as well as some other games. And then we also saw another game called Dai San Wakusai Meteor in the arcades. Some of these games are direct copies of the arcade PCB, and then they just tweak a few things. This one, I'll let you fill in the gaps for what they're copying here. We also saw Dore-chan. Dore-chan is not official based on the anime. This is another fabrication, another unlicensed video game that we've seen in the arcades. We also saw Condor, taking lots of liberties from Phoenix, really close to Phoenix, similar to Phoenix. Next one we saw was Magic Worm, ripping off Centipede. Yes, unlicensed, unregistered, uninsured. That's right, like local motorists. I love it. After Magic Worm, we saw Mayday. This was a cacophony of flashing lights everywhere, ripping off Defender. It even looks really close to Defender. It had a slow-mo setting, so they modified the game to make it where you could manipulate time. Super Moon Cresta was another one, not official Moon Cresta by Nichibutsu. This is Super Moon Cresta that was a unlicensed game. And then I wanted to throw this one in. Miss Pac-Man technically isn't unlicensed because it got a license in the States, but Namco wasn't involved. It originally was a game called Crazy Otto that was unlicensed, and then it turned into Pac-Man by some people changing the game up or changing the code up. One of the more recent ones we saw was Funny Mouse in the arcades, and then I also wanted to throw in Crazy Kong. Does Crazy Kong count as an unlicensed game? Because some sources say because it's using the same PCB or really close to the original Donkey Kong board, that Crazy Kong 1 and Crazy Kong 2 counts. So why in the world did I do this game? Why is Mr. Do here? Mr. Do's in the shuffle because there was a lot of bootlegs of Mr. Do. Or maybe it was because Universal was so easy to do a bootleg of. I'm not so sure, but I'm only going to show one. Someone mentioned Mr. Lowe in the comments, but Mr. Do was heavily bootlegged, and there's a fair chance that the game you thought you were playing as Mr. Do in the arcades possibly could have been a different game. It could have been a bootleg or a ripoff. That's how prevalent it was. And even still, other arcade cabinets could have been the same thing for other games. I just know with this one, it was very, very popular to rip off. So I'm not going to give too much more gameplay. When we played the original Mr. Do, D-O, we gave it 5 stars. Let's put another coin in. Of all the games that we played in the arcades up to this point, this one's a bootleg though, and so if you didn't know any better, you think this is just as good as Mr. Do, but I'm going to have to make a lower score for this one. Yeah, enemy patterns are slightly different, but not enough to... they still fall for the apple trick. I'm going to have to rate this one much lower because they're essentially ripping off the same game, taking the board that someone else did the work for, and then they're tricking people, basically. So of all the games you could play in the arcades up to this point, December 1982, what would you give Mr. DU? Is Mr. DU a bad game because they trick people? Is it still about average? Or does it not even count? Would you not even want to rate this game? So there you go, Mr. Do. It was a fun little romp. Checking out some unlicensed games. It's not the first, but I'd say of all the games we played, 4 Candles, very nice, Paul. I would still not say Mr. D.O. is the real one. I'm going to go very low. Mr. D.U., because it's not the real one, and for all those other ones that trick people out there, I'll go 2 stars for all the video games you could play. I know it's really not even qualified for a score, because it's not even a released game. It's an unlicensed bootleg game. 0 stars from Marshall in the chat. Even better than that. I'll say 2 stars. It's bad, but it is something you may have possibly played in the arcades, and you may have thought it was the real Mr. Do. All right, after that, let's see what our next video game is. We're next going to go to the TRS-80 and see Outhouse. This one is a bizarre one. What in the world is Outhouse? Well, the front of the box, or the front of the sleeve, says it's by Soft Sector Marketing Incorporated. Jay Weaver, and it's an Outhouse, and it says the disc version talks and is joystick compatible, but there's toilet paper. That's awesome. This is first found on the original TRS-80 Model 1 or Model 3. It marks the 167th game we've seen for this home computer. Flip it over and it tells us more information about the company. Soft Sector Marketing Incorporated. This marks the 7th time we've seen this company doing games like Conflict, Caterpillar, which is a ripoff of Centipede, Sneak Thief, which is a ripoff of Ripoff, and then Factory Programming and John Weaver Jr. It's the 4th time we've seen them on the show doing games like Vexus, Rally, and Chicken. And there they are. There is Chicken and Outhouse on this ad. Sky Sweep, I don't think we've seen that one yet, or may not ever see this one. Lots of lost video games out there. There you go. Full page advertisement you may have seen in magazines at the time. Yeah, we may want to leave this in the Outhouse. I don't know what to expect. Never played this one at the time. Not familiar with this one. There's the 5 1/4 floppy disk for Outhouse, as well as another ad, small little blurb telling us the story, lore. You are the mighty protector of the small but important wooden structure. For reasons unknown, a bizarre gang of miscreants wish to vandalize, loot, and otherwise destroy the little half-moon house. Your patrol craft has lasers and smart bombs to deal with the terror. Whoa, lasers and smart bombs? That's cool. They even have a screenshot for us. All right, let's pop in that 5 1/4 floppy disk and play Outhouse by John Weaver Jr. and Factory Programming. It is December 20th, 1982. Yay! The TRS-80. Way to go, John Weaver Jr. So this one, I think we just have to type Outhouse to get it to go. So it says joystick compatible, and it says it talks. So everyone listen to see if we hear anything that happens. I just hear some blips and bloops. Very, very nice. So here we go. Instructions. Defend the outhouse from vandalism and destruction. Use the arrow keys, spacebar and arrows to fire. Any number to start a smart bomb. Oh, okay. Number key destroys all enemies. Game ends when all your ships or outhouses are lost or the paper stolen. There's actually newspaper or toilet paper in this. Extra ship, thief. Okay, so it explains everything. We can do a 1 or 2 player game. This is essentially hot seat multiplayer arcade. You can't play multiple people at the same time. So I'm going to do 1 player. Push number 1. And go. Let's test this joystick out. Oh, it works. Very nice. Okay, I mean, the UFO floating at the top of the screen. We have miscreants coming in. This is awesome. Down at the bottom of the screen, there's our outhouse, and it's showing us the number of points it has right now. At the top left of the screen, there's our score. And we do have sound effects. I haven't heard anybody talk yet. I do have the voice. Ooh, very nice sound effects. The voice modulator is on, at least for this emulator. So we should be hearing talking, and we heard it with other games, especially by Big 5 Software. Where's the talking, though? Does it have it? Did anyone remember playing this and hearing it? Because as far as the controls go, it's fairly easy to understand. It shows which player's playing at the top. You have all 8 degrees to move around. I have one of those adapters to have an Atari joystick plugged into my TRS-80. So digital joystick plugged in. And I also have 8 different directions to shoot. So if you can see, I can fire. This is the fastest I can go. Right there, holding the button down, it will constantly fire. Uh-oh, he took the... He's taking the toilet paper. There's my points. Oh, and the points go down from the outhouse. Too cool. But you have 8 different directions to shoot. You have a really slow rate of fire. Almost methodical, similar to 1 shot at a time for Space Invaders or other fixed shooters. But this one is not quite that. Giving the freedom to move around and the freedom to shoot in 8 different directions. Even though rather slow, we still would classify this as another multi-directional shooter. Easy to control, though. We got new enemy types coming in. And it looks like we're just going to get faster and faster. It is like an arcade game we've never played in the arcades, but you're playing it at home on your TRS-80. This marks the 167th multi-directional shooter that we've seen so far across all systems. It's the 88th multi-directional shooter that we've seen on all home computers thus far. And this is the 9th multi-directional shooter for the TRS-80 up to this point that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. We've seen a lot. We've seen everything. Too many things. Multi-directional shooters could range from the really terrible one on the TRS-80 called Amoeba Attack Wars. Oh no, there's the toilet paper. And And then the points go down. That's so clever. So look, they go in. Oh wait, he didn't take the toilet paper out. That guy just went in the outhouse and didn't take the toilet paper. I don't know if that means he had to go or he already went and he soiled our outhouse. Too funny. That's awesome. So some other examples of games that this would compete with on the TRS-80 are Bosk 1 Alert, that we gave fairly average for the time. It was based on Bosconian, which is a multi-directional shooter, you know, top-down like the arcade game. Oh, this is great. This is like it's like a classic arcade game. The rate of fire does take a little bit to get used to because you're expected to have ultimate firepower, but it doesn't look like it. Yeah, so it's a little bit slower to shoot, but still really fun. Another game that this would compete with is a game called Bounceoids that we played on the TRS-80. It's a copy of Asteroids, and then another one was Space Castle, which is a copy of Star Castle, and then a better one was was a game called Fury, based on Space Fury, or a ripoff of Space Fury. So we've already seen actual arcade games. Look, the speed is picking up. Some really good multi-directional, really good multi-directional shooters you can play on the TRS-80 right now are Robot Attack, which is a ripoff of Berserk, and Supernova, which is a copy of Asteroids. Really well done, though. All right, so live went down. We're still in wave 7. How many waves can you go? What do those things do? Looks like big UFO balls. All right, so for all the games you can play on home computers right now, the presentation for this one and the way this one controls and plays is well done. It feels like something I should have played in the arcade. I don't think there's many arcade games involving toilet paper that are right now. Oh yeah, and the bombs, you just go, bam! It shows the bombs count in the top left corner, but you just push any number key. But on the joystick, I don't have a way. Yeah, I don't have a way. I have to mash the keyboard to get something to happen there. And I wonder what happens at the end. Oh, he's going to get come back with my toilet paper. Looks like I can shoot him. And then the guy on the left always goes in and then leaves, I think, right? Something like that. Very nice. So it has the classic arcade gameplay loop. It has the feeling of playing an arcade game at home, which is always a big plus. It has essentially something where you're protecting the outhouse. Look, the other guy, I don't think I lost any points there. So in other words, you're supposed to defend the outhouse. Wouldn't go so far as saying anything near like a tower defense game. It's not like that. There's no strategy. It's just that you have something that you're defending or protecting the entire time. Whoa. Now we get the speed picking up. Very nice. These little blasters on the right and left side remind me of on the Atari 2600 playing... No! What was that? There was some giant alien that flew in from the top. How many ships? Okay, 2 ships left. Okay, we're still going. Whoa, it's so fast. Wow. Yeah, they're coming in to shoot me. Loving the challenge, though. Very nice. And the splash of the sci-fi theme is a really cool touch. We've seen plenty of sci-fi video games. So really, the sci-fi is just making it quaint and fun. What really is different about this game is this, ladies and gentlemen, is the very first video game that has potty humor. The very first video game that is involving a toilet, you know, a toilet paper, and the outhouse. Sweet, I can put my name in. My full name. I got to the Hall of Fame. That's awesome. Outhouse is the very first video game that has anything to do with making fun of toilets, toilet paper, poop, pee. Pac-Man isn't pooping right now. There isn't anything like that in video games. And I know we're really not doing that, but this is the very first video game that has any reference for anything relating to potty humor. Outhouse is it. I love to know if there's anything before this, but this is all we've seen. There's nothing else that's trying to do crude humor in the vein of, you know, defending an outhouse and someone's going to run away with your toilet paper. Haven't seen anything like that. And after seeing so many games so far, it's hilarious. It's kind of refreshing that we're not doing just a normal sci-fi shoot 'em up. It has a theme that we've never seen before. Now we're going to see this game, possibly play it later on the Micro B home computer, and then we will see it later on the TRS-80 color computer in 1983. All right, so of all the games you could play across all home computers, it's still around the average range because you saw the presentation, the quality, considering everything you can play on home computers. I'm going to direct to the chat. I see Jeremiah's thrown out 3.5 stars. The one place he can't go. I love it. And yes, Powpuck, that is not out yet. There is no such thing as Uncle Pooh. And then we got mostly averages of 3 stars. Because of the theme being something more original, I could still hold it somewhere around the average range, but I'll say above average. 3.5 stars just because of how it's put together, considering the presentation, and because the theme is a little bit different and quaint. And it makes you laugh. You're having fun in the arcades, and you're just laughing that someone's stealing your toilet paper. I love it. All right, what's our next video game? We're now going to go to the United Kingdom to play on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is Splodgies from Space, the most British UK title that we've seen so far on any video game. This one is again from a magazine. It's a type-in game only for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. It's the 160th ZX Spectrum game we've seen so far, and it's the 99th game that we've typed in to play on the show. It's the 8th time we played anything or typed anything from this magazine. And if you turn to the right page, there it is. Really tiny there, Splodgies from Space. In the second program from Paul, your job is to protect Earth from marauding Splodgies that come from the planet Epsilon 4. The Terran shield which protects we poor Earthlings from such horrors that the Splodgies has developed a weak spot, and the Epsilonian mothership is hovering just above the weak point. It is boarding the ship with Splodgy landers. You have to stop the Splodgies landing on the shield, getting to your ship. If it's weak, the shield will collapse and leave the Earth open to attack. But you can go to that spot and press F, and the shield will... Okay, so it tells us a little bit how to play. Quaint. Let's type in and play some Splodgies from Space. This is Paul Tolan, ZX Computing. It is December 20th, 1982, or whenever you type this in. You've been chosen to defend an area of the Earth's defense shield, which is weakened. The aliens have discovered this weakness and will try to break the shield by dropping on it. Protect the shield by getting underneath the alien. One hit will weaken the shield, and a hit from the weak spot. Okay, they're explaining what we just saw from the magazine. So this is the second game we've seen by Paul Tolan. Way to go, Paul. After Snakes, which is also in the same magazine. All right, so let's say yes, we're ready to start. Oh, it's got a skill level. That's hilarious. We got 5 as the hardest. Let's start with 2. Protect Earth from the marauding Splodgies. Controls are only text. 5 and 8 are the cursor keys. If I move over one of the spots, I can push F to repair. Okay, I see. And fix the spots that they broke. Oh, not looking good. I guess I can just keep repairing, right? Yeah, so it's... In a way, it's the same falling, dropping block game, but it never ends. Look at the top of the screen. It's constantly going. So if you make it harder, once again, if you type this in, you would learn to love it and appreciate it. And because you typed it in, you felt like you have some sort of ownership over it, maybe. Anyway, so already I can see how increasing the difficulty would be harder because it's going to speed the game up. Only one Splodgy is falling at a time. I have no idea what a Splodgy is. Is that a reference? Anyone from viewers in the United Kingdom, is Splodgy really something, or is it just something they made up for this game? Is it real, is what I'd like to know. But regardless, really simple time. You can understand how it works. Try to catch them. If you don't catch them, they block the shield. If they destroy the shield, then it's gone. So if one lands in the same spot, which I'll let him do soon, I'll just see what happens. You get the idea. There's not even a score. It's not even keeping points or anything like that. This is essentially a ball and paddle style game. It's the 199th ball and paddle game we've seen so far. Sure, let's play again at level 5. It's the 66th ball and paddle game we've seen on all home computers, and it's the 3rd we've seen on the ZX Spectrum alone after Super Deflects and Throw the Wall. Oh, look, I think it glitched on us. It's using character set selection and just modifying it. It's also, you could describe this as a variant of Avalanche, the 16th variant of Avalanche that we've seen so far, and that includes Avalanche that we saw in the arcades and on the Atari home computer. The really good ones that you could play on all systems right now, let's do skill level 1, make it easier. Kaboom is available to play that's like Avalanche by Activision on the Atari 2600. Lost Luggage by Apollo on the Atari 2600 you could be playing. Egomania is another one we saw recently. And then on home computers, we got Popcorn, Starship Chameleon, and Ketchum, all on the TRS-80 color computer. But the really good one of the best games like Avalanche, besides the official Avalanche, that you could play is Chicken. That is on the Atari home computer. Still, this one is an okay time, but of all the games you could be playing on all home computers, this would get tiring very fast. Yes, someone already sent in their rating for Splodgies from space. If you type it in, you might rate it higher. But here on the show, we're very spoiled. We've played every video game on all home computers up to this point. Even typing this in, Splodgies from space, is still bad. Of all the games you could play, there's not even a score counter. I'm going to go 1.5 stars. I got a 2-star from Marshall. Oh, very nice. Some 2 stars. I see Brian's ready with the emojis for Outhouse. Very nice. We'll go 1.5 stars for Splodgies from space. Paul Toland, if you don't like it, come on the show and re-rate it yourself. Let's see what our next video game is. And now it's time to play on the TRS-80 color computer, known as the Coco. This is Revolution. I am not familiar with Revolution. Let's check it out together. This is one of the ads you would have seen from Revolution, not to be confused with Galactic Revolution, part of the Galactic Saga series. This game is only on the TRS-80 Coco, the 177th video game we've played for this color computer. Now, this is not the first time you would have seen this game. It actually first showed up in the Rainbow magazine. First seen in the September issue, 1982. Revolution is the commercial expanded evolution of the earlier program called The Track, which first appeared in the September 1982 issue of Rainbow magazine by the same developer. The original version was designed to run on just 16K of RAM from cassette and already stood out by allowing players to create their own custom racing tracks. With typing in the program, users would select one of 4 car options: VW, Datsun, Lotus, or Ferrari, though only one could be included at a time. Even in this early form, the ability to build and save tracks made it especially distinctive. Here's what happens when you turn to the right page. By December 1982, a more advanced retail version was released as Revolution. This edition typically required 32K of RAM, a disk drive. Even though later they did a 16 cassette version, it featured P-Mode 3 graphics, improved sound effects, faster gameplay thanks to machine language routines handling the core driving mechanics. The game shipped with 10 pre-made tracks while still retaining the robust track editor that allowed players to design courses of varying length and difficulty, rated from 1 to 7 based on track width. Unlike the earlier version, Revolution includes all 4 cars, VW, Porsche, Lotus, and Ferrari, and lets players switch between them between races, each offering unique handling and acceleration characteristics. Storage efficiency was also impressive. Most custom tracks only used a small amount of disk space, allowing for dozens of tracks to be saved, up to 68 tracks on a blank disk. Players can choose the number of laps per race with lap counters and timing displayed during gameplay. After each race, detailed statistics are provided, including best lap, average lap time, how often the player veered off the track. Each course also records the fastest lap and the driver who achieved it, along with the car used, and you can save that too. Gameplay features, we'll see that when we get in the game. So we're not going to play the track. This is the first commercial release, so didn't technically see this in September because we're playing it now. Let's pop in this real disc and play Revolution. This is Al Hine, published by Interaction. It is December 28th, 1982, or really close to the end of December 1982. So this one, I believe, is Extended Basic. Let's go. This is Interaction and Al Hine's first game that we've ever seen on Chronologically Gaming. And it's technically an enhanced remake because it was originally typed in. There we go. We have color. We're playing on the color computer. And don't bring any friends along. There's no multiplayer options for Revolution. It's a single-player only affair, single-player only game. All right, so here's how the game begins. It loads up one track. It says we're driving a VW at Boro, and we can select these options. Interesting. It has menu options for a driving game. If you want to pick another car, sure. Push number 3, you can pick between all 4 of the cars. VW is the slowest one, easy to work with. Porsche is a little bit faster. Lotus is faster. Let's go with a Porsche. Push number 2, so it says now we're driving a Porsche and we're at Boro. Let's select another track. Push number 4, and you can see these are the tracks that we have saved on this disc. A big shout out to Curtis Boyle, L. Curtis B. I don't know if he's on the live show tonight. He's the one who created this disc, allowing us to play Revolution. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to. I don't think the Color Computer Archive has this game. So thanks again, Curtis Boyle, for providing this. Now, I want to go to Daytona. Does Daytona work? So it moves us to Daytona, and then it updates this. We're on a porch at Daytona, and then how many laps do we want to do? Let's do a 2-lap. Ready? And we're going. Analog controls, here you go. Gameplay features a vertically scrolling track with curves and varying widths, requiring precise control. Good thing, because you got an analog joystick. Steering and acceleration are analog, and you don't have simple directional inputs. You can do small nuances or tweaks. If you drive off the road, that's what happens. You can also pull back and stop. You can slow yourself down. So you can move back to slow yourself down. You can also move the joystick forwards and go fast. Whoa! So you can pick the speed because you have that analog joystick. For an earlier racing title on the Color Computer, Revolution stands out because not just of the track and because of this gameplay, because we played like this before. We'll go into the other options that it has, but there you go. There's my 2 laps. It shows the 2 laps in time, and then it records it all. And then if we want to quit, we hit 0. And now it says we're driving a Porsche at Daytona. Here's what makes the game impressive. That was just one example of what the game's like and how you play the game. Let's pick another car. Let's go 3. Let's go with a Ferrari. And let's go with a different track. Let's go to Rome. I've been told some of these tracks, not all the tracks, work, and we'll just see what happens whenever we play the game. How many laps do we want? Let's do 3 laps in Rome. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, it looks like it loaded. Look, we have a different sprite for our car, a different looking car than what we had before. This is so cool. On lots of different levels. Oh gosh. So the first impression, I just think of all the games we played that have been vertically scrolling or auto-scrolling vertically. This one gives you the control to move slowly forward. Oh, look, I can slow myself down. I can speed myself up if I want to. And you can also save your time using the laps. Essentially, this is a really early version of a time trial video game where you can save your time to disk. Look, I can actually put my name in and save it. Cool. I'm going to do 0, go back to the main site. Now, this is where it gets interesting. When you can design your own track. So audio and visual, it's really not doing too many things impressive. What's really impressive about the game is the track creation system. It sets it apart from most of the other racing games we played up to this point. So at this time on the show, we've seen 137 racing or driving video games. This is the 51st racing or driving game that we've seen on all home computers so far. This is only the second racing and driving game on the Coco we've seen after Le Mans, which was a top-down arcade racing game. This one's technically a track racing video game, but it's really, really cool when you consider the other games that are out there. This one's very special. Revolution is a revolution. Now, let's check out what happens if you talk with your crew chief. Push number 1, and it tells you pretty much how to play the game. Welcome to a unique and exciting experience. This is what our crew chief would tell us. You'll take control of an authentic race car. Moving the right joystick left to right steers it. Moving the joystick forward speeds up. Pull back, you'll slow the car down. Your car will appear in the middle of the screen. The track will move from the top to the bottom. The object is to set a fast lap time. You'll be recorded permanently for all to see. Yes. Once you've gained experience, you can select faster cars and more difficult tracks. Don't get too excited. It's not talking like experience points. It just means you, the player, will have experience. And you can even design and race your own tracks if you like, and save your new tracks as well. When you return to the menu, select the option 2 to drive the Ferrari at Rome. The computer will start your laps, and there you go. 0 to quit. All right, let's pick another car to see what it looks like. What does the Lotus look like? And then let's select another track, see what works. What do we got? We have even more than this. We have USA. Wow, so much that were changed. Laguna. There's a Coco track. The Bridge. That's so cool. Let's do USA. Let's see if USA works. Yes, that's very true, Paul. If you can make your own tracks, you essentially can fix the game. And that's one regard, but it just makes it more and more fun because you have more possibilities for what you can do. There's also something else that makes this game very unique. This is the very first video game, racing driving game, that allows you to switch vehicles before you play. Every other racing driving video game just said, here's the car you're driving, and that's it. There was no way to switch cars out. This is the very first game, because even the top pole position right now in the arcades, you just play on the car they say you play on, and that's it. There's no way to switch to a different car. Now, sure, there's other video games we play where you can pick the color of the car or the speed of the car, but this one's actually changing the car itself. They're telling us, we play text car games, by the way, that tell us we're in a different car, but this one's actually changing the car sprite, the character on the screen. And in a way, when we played Street Racer or Speedway 2 on the Atari 2600, they had variations where you were able to switch the variation, the select switch, and that was changing the vehicle, sort of. So maybe you could call that one the first one, but this one is, I would say, even cooler than that. It has the difficulty option, the level selection, the level select to select the level you want. Let's go in and see what happens with the USA course. Very cool. We go faster. Go, 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 go. Try to go for a quick time. I only put 2 laps in, so if you don't go off-road, you actually get a pretty good time. And if you design the track, 3 laps. If you design the track yourself, then then you'll be able to memorize it. But you can also give the disc to your friends. Amazing. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. And we're going to record it, save it to the disc. Let's go ahead and pick another car. Let's see what the VW, the super slow one, looks like. Select another track. Let's go with Riverside this time. See if Riverside works for us. And you saw all these tracks that were saved. We could create our own and build our own track. So this game features the a level editor. This is the 18th video game that we played that features a map or level editor within the game. Some of the more popular ones we've seen have been games like Penetrator on the TRS-80 and ZX Spectrum, Starfleet, Orion. Pinball on the Coco was one of the first, where you could customize pinball. So here it is. Coco's bringing us another a first or amazing game. Another really crazy one the Coco has is the Dark Castle game system that we've seen. We've also seen Ghost Hunter that has your own map and level editor. Pegasus 2, design your own scramble game. Casey's Crazy Chase, you can design your own maze like Pac-Man. Night Mission Pinball, design your own pinball. But even better than that, the pinball construction set's out. And the one I always talk about, the arcade machine, design your own Galaxian game, is available right now. So there's a lot to see. Look at that VW. Oh yeah, it's really slow. There's the normal speed, and this is me faster than that. The handling is also a little bit different too. Very, very small, but well deserved, because we haven't seen any other racing game that doesn't say, okay, here's the car you drive, and you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. This time we get to pick the car. Select the one we want. So because of the editor, the level editor, you saw the number of levels it can have and save. While this gameplay that you're seeing right now could seem pretty average, considering everything else that's out there and what we've seen, that puts it over the top of all the other games. Selecting your own car and being able to design your own track and change tracks. Like this one right here, you can edit this and just say, I didn't like that turn. I want to change that turn. Go for it. There we go. Another good point in the chat, bringing up auto racing on the Intellivision. A television did, that's true, have different top speeds and handling, and all it was the color. So yes, that is a good point. That one and the speed race on the Atari 2600. Just keep on driving. The other thing that might bring this one down is it's not multiplayer. It's only a single player experience. But still, I'm impressed with the amount of options that this has compared to everything else that's available right now. It is a variant of Speed Race, which we originally saw in the arcades in the 70s. You are scrolling vertically from a top-down perspective. In a way, this game kind of reminds me of Highway that we saw in April 1975 in the arcades. Some of the best racing or driving games that you could play right now on all home computers. If you wanted to compare it, we won't do a Chrono recap, but let's go in again and have fun with it. But some of the other really good games you could play right now are games like Car Wars on the Texas Instruments home computer, which is a ripoff of Head-On. Dodge Racer on the Atari home computer by Synapse Software, which is another Head-On ripoff, and then going to another game that's not Head-On is Getaway on the Atari home computer, which is a variant of Rally X. Some other Rally X variants you could play on home computers are Speedway Blast on the Atari home computer. Rally X is on the VIC-20, which got turned into Radar Rat Race, and Rally is available on the TRS-80. Cross Country Rally is on the Apple II, and if you want to do another variant of Night Driver, International Grand Prix on the Apple II by Muse Software is available to play. Night Driver is that first-person perspective game we saw in the arcades. Night Driver is also part of the Bill Budge trilogy of games on the Apple II. Night Driver is on the Commodore 64 right now. And then in a whole different perspective, like that you can't get in, or not copying any other games, Baja Buggies you could play right now on the Atari home computer. Micro Sailing is a boating racing game on the Atari home computer. And then a really impressive one, Formula One Racing by Sid Meier, is available on the Atari home computer. Fully scrolling, top-down view, not really rip-off of Speed Race. We already mentioned Le Mans, that's on the Coco, which is a ripoff of Grand Track 10. And then Le Mans on the Commodore 64 and the Commodore Max Machine by HAL Laboratories is kind of like this, where you're ripping off Speed Race. Motor Mania on the Commodore 64 is another Speed Race ripoff. Turbo 2000 on the TRS-80 is another one. And then we saw another game called River Rat on the Atari home computer and Match Racer on the Atari home computer. Those are all scrolling up, but Match Racer's, it's a little rough. So of all the games you could play right now, the only ones that could top this Speed Race ripoff, graphically, audio, would be something like Motor Mania on the Commodore 64, maybe Le Mans on the Commodore 64 and the Commodore Max Machine, but all the other features that this has is pretty cool. All right, so there you go. That is the experience of Revolution. Were you revolutionized? It is a revolutionary game. Of all the games you could play right now on all home computers, it has something special, and I actually can't just call this average. That gameplay is pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of racing games that can compete with this kind of racing game. You know, some of the other ones are just on one screen, like the old school arcade racing games. Oh, and there we go. Someone's bringing up something that's coming up in 1983. John Anderson's Rally Speedway. Yeah, and then Jay Mogler, who saw when we played Motor Mania on the Commodore 64, says that one's better. 3.5 to 4 stars coming from Paul of all the games you could play. And then 3.5 from James, 2.5. I'm actually thinking, yeah, between 3.5 and 4 stars of all the games you could play. Because of the saving feature, because of the track feature, I would say above average is where I would start the game. And playing the game, getting that analog control compared to the other racing games, we've used spinners for some of the racing games, you know, to move left and right. I really wish we had that with Baja Buggies. I'd say Revolution is excellent. Very well done. It bumps up because of the features. 4 stars for Revolution. A well-done racing game right now in December 1982. All right, after that, what's next? We're still going to be on the TRS-80. Let's play some Solo Pool. Not familiar with this one either. We don't have a lot of information for Solo Pool. This one is, again, only for the Coco, and it's the 177th game we played for the color computer. It's by Tom Mix Software, the 13th time we've seen this company doing games like Caterpillar Attack, Protectors, Birds, and the phenomenal Donkey King, king of the Donkey Kong clones right now on all home computers. And it's the very first game we've seen by John Fracey, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And there's some of the other games we've seen by them. Let's go and play some Solo Pool. John Fracey, Tom Mix Software. It's December 28th, 1982. I believe we just have to go Solo Pool and go. Oh, that's right. It is extended basic again. Solo Pool. Got to remember all my computer commands. That's right. Surprise ratings. After seeing all the racing games on home computers, it's all right. All right, run that. We got some music. I hope it's coming in all right. The Entertainer. Cool. Add that to the public domain music bingo. Do we need instructions? Oh, yes. Yes, we do. Solo pool. I guess we're playing by ourselves? No, it's a 1 or 2 player game. The right joystick's used if there's only 1 player. 2 players can take turns shooting their solid or striped pool balls. Your turn's indicated by an arrow in the lower left or right of the screen. Your ball is then placed on the table in a random position, and the point value for each pocket is displayed. If the select option has been chosen, you can play your first ball. However, if select is on, a question mark will appear beside your ball asking if you like its position. Pressing Y will allow you to shoot. Pressing N will select another random position. Okay, so it's not traditional pool, apparently. You may select until you get your shot. Now make that shot. Adjust the Q position, the small crosshair. Pressing the fire button will cause the ball to travel in the direction of the line between the ball and the crosshair. The distance the ball travels is equal to 8 times the crosshair. Whoa, but they're putting math. I mean, there's already physics with pool, but this is some high-level description and lots of text. When the multicolored bonus ball appears, all the pocket values are tripled. 1-player game is 6 balls, 2-player is 5. 6 is necessary to... So it's not a real pool game. If we did a 2-player game with this, you're essentially doing a turn-based video game of the same thing, just so you can get the most points. All right, so I'm going to do a 1-player game. A 2-player game really isn't as dependent. You're going to get the same experience, or the showcase, if you will. We have a difficulty level. Let's go with difficulty 2. And then select option, sure. Let's make it so we can pick the spot where our ball goes. Okay, so the ball starts here, and it says, do you want the ball to start here? Now, look around the table. It's not traditional pool. You're supposed to hit them in one of the pockets. So I'm looking at 6 over there. I'll say no. Give me another spot. Okay, it picks another random spot for the ball, and all the pockets change points. I'll just say yes. Give it there. All right, analog joystick. Check it out. You got a cursor to control a point and select interface. That's crazy. All right, so if I want to go and hit this ball in, I got to pull it back and aim for that spot and action. Action. I have to hold it down. Do I have to pull back? Or did I push? Is it not? Oh, wait, it's pulling up different colors for some reason. I don't know if that's the where I can do the action button or not. Or do I click the ball first? I know I read the instructions. There, it's not responding. I did on my playtest, but now the action button is not doing a thing. Do I have to go farther back? Yeah, it's not responding like it did before. Essentially, you're supposed to move the crosshair away from the point of the ball, and then when you use the action button, it then knocks the ball to that spot. Wonder why it's not responding. I think it should if I do that. Yeah, that's the right one. Nothing. It just died on me. All right, let's boot it up again and see if it fixes it. Solo pool might be finicky, or again, it might be an issue with the emulation. Who knows what happens on the live show? Let's try it again. Solo pool. This marks the 13th time we played a billiards or snooker sports video game. Solo pool. And it's the 7th game that we played that's a pool video game on all home computers. It's the very first pool game you could play for the Coco. Oh, really? At the top? Maybe I executed one of the commands to crash it. Okay, here we go. Atomic Software. John Fracey. I'll just say no. No instructions. Number of players, 1. Difficulty, 1. And then let's say no. That's how I did for the playtests. All right, so ready? Just go. 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 It should be the same action button, but now it's not. Well, there you go. When you do the live show, you never know what will happen the first time you play the game. But I'm a little perturbed because it was working correctly right before I did the live show and I did the playtests. At least the action button was responding. But now, nothing. And doesn't seem to be in a certain spot. I wonder if I need to do it there. Or do it again here. No, nothing. Darn. Solo Pool was essentially not a traditional pool video game, but it was almost in a way a puzzle-ish game because you were trying to get the most points depending on where the ball had started. But can't show it at all. No, and I thought there was a lag too for it, but it's the action button is just not responding. Maybe I got to try a key on the keyboard instead. Oh, that worked. G worked. I don't know why G worked. But the action button on my joystick did not. So I got to use the analog keys and then the action button. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Marshall. That must have been the difficulty at the top. Appreciate the help, though. All right, so we'll just use half hybrid keyboard. Okay, so I want to aim for this bottom left corner where the 5 is. So that means I got to go up here. I got to aim and pull back away from it and then go. Oh, now G isn't working. What's going on? Oh, now F works. I'm baffled. If you play this as a 2-player game, you're essentially taking turns. Hey, we made 3 points. There we go. All right, so I want to go for 6 way over there. Let's move it right there. There it is. Okay, now we're playing solo pool. Oh, it bounced off. I miscalculated. I got the 3 points again at the top. So this is how the game is played. It's really not traditional pool. It's essentially just bounce the ball where it needs to go. The farther away you go, that's your power meter. So not as intuitive as other things we've seen. Let's pop it in the 2. Hit it really hard. Bam. But I think it's also the difficulty. It determines also the speed of the ball. All right, so let's go with 5 down there. Ready, hit it. Works great. So, of all the games you can be playing across all home computers, Solo Pool, it was a rough start for Solo Pool. But in order of worst pool games to best, right now you could be playing from the worst game, or worst pool game, just because we haven't played them, is Billiards on the Commodore Max machine, Trick Shot on the Apple II, and those kind of don't count because we weren't able to get them to load or play. But Trick Shot and Billiards are the bottom tier. Do we play again? Yeah. Number of players? Sure. Let's do difficulty 4 and see if we see a difference. Desire to select? No. Let's just do it. But the lowest pool game after those we've seen was Bumper Pool for the Apple II. Then we also saw Pool 400 and Pool 1.5 on the Atari home computer, getting a little bit better. But the best pool game you could play across all home computers right now, I would say it still stands at Snooker and Billiards on the Atari home computer, which apparently is the place to be for pool. We gave it one of the best games you could play just because of how well it was programmed. All right, so I want to go with 6. Ready, and hit it. Go! Go! There we go. Yeah, that's the one, Paul. The Thorn EMI Pool is the Snooker and Billiards. That one is the best that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. Oh, I think I missed. Yeah, the angle was a little off on that one. So it has a few things to love because it's not trying to get all the pool balls on the table. The other games that we've seen, like Bumper Pool, which is kind of trying to do something different, but Pool 400, before they optimized it on the Atari home computer with Pool 1.5, is trying to have a traditional pool, and it's really difficult. So smart idea, not trying to get all the balls on the table at once, because then you have a ton of slowdown. but the cursor crosshair point and select interface, and it works well with the analog joystick. If you can get past our fun little frustration for the beginning. And playing with 2 people, it turns into not really like you're playing pool. It's you're playing on a pool table, but you've kind of designed your own arcade game, fun arcade game. So very interesting. All right, so there you go. Solo pool, you can play with someone else. You'll be taking turns, but it's still an all right time. Of all the games you could be playing across all home computers, if you play with 2 people, you'd enjoy it a little bit more. And I would give this, looks like Paul already threw out 2 stars of all the games you could play. Probably because we didn't get the controls to work correctly, but you understood how it works. Got a crosser that moves around, get the power, try to get the balls in to get points. Solo pool at this time would still be around the average range for all the games you could play up to this point. It's well done in what it's trying to accomplish. I'm thinking around 2.5 to 3 stars. James is throwing out 3 stars for all the games you could play across all home computers. There's also not a lot of pool video games that you could be playing on home computers right now. Devo guy's throwing 2, 2.5 for Marshall. So yeah, I'll go 2.5 stars. Solo pool is not bad, not in the 2-star range, but still it has some merit to not to keep it around the average range. All right, after that, it's time to put all the video game playing on pause. Thanks everyone that has been here live on the show. This now marks all the games that we could find a definite release date for in December 1982. Coming up next, and next time on Chronologically Gaming, we start seeing all the games released at some time in December 1982, in alphabetical order. It's around 40-something games. And we start with all new games on Japanese home computers. You don't want to miss it. If this is the kind of video or kind of thing you like to see or want to see, send a like, send a comment, send something to let me know that this is motivating me to keep going. I really appreciate everyone that's been part of our Patreon, and also a big shout out to everyone that helped make the channel 3,000 subscribers. I never ever expected 3,000 subscribers for Chronologically Gaming. Just because of the way that I have my presentation, I don't have a background in audio video or putting together scenes and cuts and so forth and doing a live show. Never did any of it before, just had a passion for video games and history and really wanted to make sure we saw every single video game because it's never been done before. So really appreciate everyone that's been a part of the journey. Well, that's it for today, and like I always say, if your game has toilet paper, then you're playing with shit. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and be a Chronologically Gaming influencer, rating the games as we play them. This video wouldn't be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and Maine. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every video game. We have links down below that give more information on the games we played this episode, as well as our Discord and Patreon. There's a link called All the Games We Have Played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.